Welcome. I'm so thankful that you're here. Are you looking to improve the quality of your life? Maybe it's financially. Maybe you're looking to get that promotion at work. Maybe you want to lose some weight or live a healthier lifestyle. I'm Danny Martin, and this is Danny Martin Success. Nothing changes until it's recognized. Most people think they need more motivation, more discipline, more confidence. But the real problem isn't effort, it's awareness. Once we become aware of what needs to change, we can put together a plan and set goals accordingly. If you were to break down every part of your daily habits, you'll find areas for improvement. Time management, procrastination, social media, and fluff tends to fill the spaces. Take, for example, the sales process, just one element that has several parts. Prospecting, we have to get our business from somewhere, right? Making and receiving phone calls, the walk-in traffic, answering the phones, advertising. Maybe we advertise on social media or different platforms in order to get business. The list goes on, but you can relate it to your industry and how you prospect for new business. Then the next step would be the introduction. How do you introduce yourself? You only get one chance to make a great first impression. And then the next step in the process is needs analysis. What kind of timeline? How soon do they want to get your product or service? What does that look like? What equipment do they need in order to achieve their goals? Are they financing it? Are they paying cash? Who's going to be using it? What will your product or service do for your prospect? How will it improve the quality of their life, their relationships? Maybe it's the relationship with their children, their spouse, or others in the office to help improve the quality of their lives. Who is going to be most impacted by your product or service that you're offering? And then the next step would be throw out a trial close. Hey, is this something that you can see yourself using today? That asks the question, are you ready to move forward now? Do we need to keep moving on? And then move on to the next step, the product or service presentation. Then you can use the features and benefits walk around close or walk around features and benefits to explain how the product is going to fit within their needs and how they're going to use it. And then you can throw out another trial close would be the next step. Can you see how this product or service is going to improve the quality of your life for you and those around you? And then the next step is asking for the business. Are you ready to move forward today, or what's it going to take to earn your business today? And then the next step, are you looking for any add-ons, any extras? Do you need any accessories, or how about an extended service contract? What does that look like for you? And then the next step would be the documentation presentation, presenting them with the bank contracts or all the necessary paperwork that goes along with your purchase. And then finally, the delivery and aftercare. What does that look like? How is that scheduled? What do you do for your client and your prospect after the sale is complete? What can they expect from you as their salesperson? Each one of these elements of the sale should be looked at as separate and break them down so that you can recognize where improvements can be made. For those of us who have been doing this for a short time, repetition is the mother of skill, and you can focus on consistency. And there's nothing wrong with that until you can't figure out why you're losing sales. Recognizing that each of these areas of the prospects have the potential to improve and result in better performance. For those of us who are professionals, understand to look throughout the process to find holes to fill with change. We modify, we test, we adapt, and then we install. Then we repeat and rinse and repeat. Because if you can't recognize what's driving your behavior, it's already controlling your results. Recognition is the moment you finally see what's been shaping your outcomes, your habits, your reactions, and your patterns. Take, for example, your health. Maybe you feel as though you're too young to worry about your health. Hear this. Start early and live longer. It's no joke. Ask anyone older than you. Ask your parents. Ask your grandparents. Ask them if they could advise their younger self, what choices would they make differently? Maybe you just left your doctor's office from your yearly exam and found out that you now need to make some dramatic changes to your lifestyle. You thought you were eating well and making good choices and not seriously overweight. Maybe you found out that your sugar is high or your salt is low. Your blood pressure is too high or too low. Maybe you found out that if you lost 15 or 20 pounds, it would take some of the stress off your shoulders and your midsection. Many of the choices that we make daily, we take for granted. They're not at the forefront of our attention because we feel healthy. Nothing feels off. And then we get confirmation from a reliable source, your doctor, telling you it's time to change the way you live. This is where recognition is so important. None of this is meant to scare you. These are areas that we often overlook and dismiss. But you get to choose to ignore the results and dismiss the potential outcomes, or you can take control. There is a lot to unpack here. Break it down into its simplest parts and through recognition, build a plan. These are two very impactful examples, one professional and one personal. There are so many more to hone in on. What you focus on, you recognize. And once you see it, you get your power back. Recognition is awareness without judgment. It's not beating yourself up, it's not blaming others, and it's not justifying why you do what you do. Recognition is simply noticing the truth as it is. Because awareness creates choice, and without choice, everything you do is automatic. When you lack recognition, you don't decide your life, you react to it. Most people are living on autopilot. They have the same triggers, the same reactions, and the same outcomes. They get defensive in conversations. We often prefer to justify our choices rather than dig deep. They procrastinate when it's time to act. We know we should make better choices, but tell ourselves, I can do that tomorrow. Like Tony Robbins says, there is power in now. Or how about Rocky Balboa in the Rocky films, staring at himself in the mirror with intention and saying, there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. That was very dramatic and on purpose. They repeat habits they already know aren't serving them. But instead of recognizing the pattern, and they label it bad luck, stress, or circumstances. Without recognition, nothing changes. You don't see the cycle, so you keep repeating it. Another major blind spot is confusing intent with impact. Recognizing our communication can create breakdowns or build bridges. I didn't mean it that way. That's not what I intended, or sometimes show up. But recognizing when they do that, we can adjust the conversation and turn that around immediately, certainly just by recognition. But growth doesn't happen at the level of intent, it happens at the level of impact. Recognition means owning how you show up, not how you explain yourself. Leaders in high performance don't defend their intentions, they recognize their impact and adjust. That's maturity, that's growth. The hardest thing to do is look at yourself. It takes courage to take responsibility for every part of your life. And here's a hard truth. No one is going to care more about you, your goals, your strategy, or your well-being more than you do. Have you ever been sitting around binge watching a series or watching sports like football, baseball, or basketball for countless hours? Maybe you were so engrossed in your video game to achieve that personal record that you lost track of time. And then it hits you, this overwhelming feeling of regret or shame that you cannot get those 8 hours back and that you could have been far more productive. Maybe this time could have been better spent learning a new skill or improve whichever goal you set, whether it's financial, physical, relationship, or professional. Most people stay busy so that they don't have to reflect. They distract instead of evaluate. But recognition requires slowing down long enough to ask, why did I react that way? Why does this keep triggering me? What patterns keep showing up in my life? Avoiding the mirror doesn't protect you. It delays your progress. Stare into the reflection and decide who you want looking back at you and set your goals accordingly. One bad day isn't an issue. Patterns are. Patterns reveal beliefs. They reveal identity. They reveal standards. When you recognize a pattern, you can interrupt it. And interruption is where key change begins. Recognition always leads to responsibility. No guilt, no shame. Responsibility equals power. When you recognize your role, you stop asking why life keeps happening to you, and you start asking what you're doing that's creating it. That's when control returns. Recognition doesn't need to be dramatic. A simple daily practice works. When uncomfortable emotions and feelings show up, it might be just one situation or one reaction or one lesson, and that's it. Small awareness repeated daily rewires identity over time. Recognition is the doorway to growth. You don't change by force, you change by seeing clearly. You can't outgrow what you won't recognize. If you're ready to take the next step seriously, start with a personal inventory. If you want to recognize where you can improve, start with It Begins With Me, a sales blueprint. And leave your comments below and let's start a conversation. I'm Danny Martin, and this is Danny Martin Success.